Hello, my name is Troz, and today I will be your coach, and I will teach you the 5 basic rules that you need to know to just be able to play the game of basketball, and then I will teach you how you can improve your passing, shooting, and dribbling in basketball. So let's get straight into it. The 5 rules that I will be teaching you really revolve around the legs and dribbling, because the game of basketball is really all about dribbling the ball. So, rule number 1 is that when you have the ball in your hand, to be able to move around, you'll always need to be dribbling. If you don't do this, it's called a travel. So if I receive the ball and I walk around with it without dribbling, it's called a travel. So rule number 2 is that when I'm dribbling the ball, I can only dribble the ball with one hand or the other, or switching between the both. I cannot dribble with both hands at the same time like this. This is called an illegal move. So rule number 3 is that I cannot double dribble, and a double dribble is that I'm dribbling the ball, I pick it up, I stop, and I start dribbling again. This is called a double dribble, and it's not allowed. Rule number 4 is that, like I said in rule number 1, you're not allowed to take any steps without dribbling. However, you're allowed 2 additional steps when picking up a dribble and being in motion. So for example, I'm dribbling, I'm in motion, I pick up the ball, I take 1, 2 steps, and I do what I need to do. But many players get confused. They think they can take these 2 steps when they receive the ball. You're not allowed to do this. You need to be in motion, and you have to do it after picking up a dribble. And the same like this, in the motion. I cannot be dribbling, I stop, and then I take my 2 steps, because I stopped my motion. So that's not allowed either. That's called a travel again. Now, rule number 5. Many players get confused on this as well, because they think it's a travel as well. However, this is called pivoting. So, if you look closely on my left foot, I will never be moving this left foot off the ground. I only move my right foot off the ground. So I'm pivoting with my foot here. I'm only moving this foot off the ground. So it's not a travel. And when you receive the ball, you have to either choose your left or right foot. You cannot choose this foot, start pivoting around like this, stop pivoting, and then choosing this foot to pivot. That's not allowed. That's called a travel again if you do that. That's why many players get confused. So when you receive the ball, you have to choose either your right or left leg to pivot with. And that's all the 5 rules you need to know. Dribbling is going to be the first skill I will teach you how to improve. So, when dribbling, I see a lot of new players dribbling with their palm open like this and smacking the ball very high up like this. This is very bad because you have no control of the ball. And when you're dribbling, you always want to have control, so you can dribble away from your defenders. So you want to use your fingertips and be more loose, and use more of your wrist to flick it. And you want to, like, when I'm dribbling, you're going to see that I kind of get low and dribble with the ball. So I'm going down and dribbling with the ball, and I always have control of the ball. And that's the first step you need to know to improve your dribbling. And then I know a lot of you guys want to know all the flashy moves, like behind the backs, spin moves, all of that. But to be able to do those, you need to get the fundamentals down, which is being able to control the ball while stepping left and right, or stepping around the defender. So I'm dribbling, I have control of the ball, and I step this way, I step this way, I step this way. I always have control of the ball. And to be able to do those moves, you need to have control and be able to step forward and back. And now, the first move I'm going to teach you, which is pretty easy, is just the crossover. The crossover is a bit different than dribbling the ball, because you use more of your shoulders. You're using the shoulder to push it left and right with both hands, and usually you never let go of the ball. You always want to be very close to the ball, so you can do those moves you want to do. So you start here, and you kind of roll it off with your hand and use your shoulder to swing it. So you're swinging the ball always, and you're always close to the ball, and always low down. You always want to low down. Now you add both of the things we learned. So we learned how to control the ball by stepping forward, and we learned how to cross over, right? Now you can learn how to do a between the legs. You combine the two. So you have control of the ball while stepping forward, and then you do what we just did, a crossover, but you do it between the legs. So I have control of the ball, and then I cross it over between my legs, and that's just between the legs. It's called a between the legs. So you can do that, and to prove this, you can just do this. Keep doing this until you feel comfortable, and then you can start switching it up. You can do it this, go back again, and then you can do the other one, and then you can do both at the same time. So you can go like this, stop, this, stop, and you can do all of those drills. This drill will really improve your dribbling a lot. So all the things you need to know is keep low, have control, and then you can do these moves. So that's what you need to know how to improve your dribbling. Shooting is going to be the next skill I will teach you how to improve. So shooting personally is my favorite because I love being able to score anywhere on the court. So it's really important to have full body motion in shooting, all the way from your feet up to your eyes. So you have to remember this, full body motion. Okay, so I'm going to break it into 3 different steps. Step 1 going to be my legs and feet. Step 2, arms and hands. And step 3, eyes. So step 1 is your feet. You always want to have good balance for an accurate shot and more consistent shot. You always want to have consistent shots. So your feet, personally, I like to have them shoulder width to have a good balance. But people might like to have it a bit wider or a bit more narrow. But you always want to have good balance so you can be anywhere on the court and shoot. So the next is your legs. Your legs is how you will be able to shoot further. If you don't use all the power in your legs, you will not be able to shoot far at all. So your legs, you need to be bending down. But you don't want to bend down too much because then you lose all your power trying to get back up. So if I bend down too far, I'll lose all my power here to try to get back up. And if I bend down too little, I'll get no power to get up. So you want to get kind of 90-degree bend here to get the most power in your shot and to be able to shoot further. So here I go down 90-degree up and shoot, right? So that's step 1. Now step 2 is going to be your arms and hands. Your arms or your elbow always wants to be facing the basket. So let's imagine the basket's above. The arm or the elbow should always be facing it, because if my elbow is facing to the right, I'm going to shoot to the right. If it's facing to the left, I'm going to shoot to the left. So you always want to have a straight elbow to the basket. And now your arm, same with your leg, wants to be 90 degrees here, because if it's too far back, you will kind of slingshot it forward and you will get a very inaccurate shot, and you don't want that. You want consistency. And if it's too far forward, you get no power in it. So you need to have a perfect 90 degrees here as well. And now your hands. Your left hand is really easy to learn. Your right hand is under the ball, and your left hand is basically just here to guide the ball. It's just to balance it. It really doesn't do anything else when you shoot. Because when you shoot, if you look at my left hand here, I'm only shooting and guiding it up. So I'm guiding it up, and I let go and I shoot. And now, for the last part, you guys have probably heard this before or somewhere, it's reaching into the cookie jar. So every time I'm trying to flick my wrist and reach into the cookie jar like this, and I'm trying to reach in like this in the cookie jar, and this will make it have a perfect arc to go through the net, and will also make the ball spin in the air. So if I do miss, it has a higher chance to actually roll in when I miss. So you want to flick your wrist as hard as possible. And you also want to extend your arm fully before flicking your wrist. Because if you flick before, you'll not get the full power of your arm. And now, the third and last step is your eyes. You should be looking at the basket almost before you start shooting. So for example, the basket's over here, I start looking, and then I start setting up my shot. This will make it a lot more accurate and make it a lot easier to actually make all of your shots. Now you will add all of the steps you learned into one full body motion, remember? So I'll get my good balance. I'll get my legs ready, my elbow forward to the basket, my other hand here, my arms and everything, and I'll bend down, go up and shoot the ball up like this and flick it. And that's basically it. But now I will show you a really good drill that I like to do, which is just being almost under the basket. You shoot the ball, and when you make it, you take 2 steps back, shoot again, and when you make it again, you take 2 steps back, but if you miss, you restart the whole thing. And that's basically it. Passing is going to be the last skill I'm going to be teaching you today. And passing is actually very underestimated. Giving a good accurate pass can give like a free point in almost any game. So today I will teach you 3 types of passes you can use in any game that will improve your passing so much. So the first type of pass is going to be a chest pass. A lot of players think they know how to do this pass, but actually they don't know the small steps you need to do to be able to do this pass perfectly. So first you want to have a diamond shape, because this diamond shape is how you will receive the ball and then pass it back out. So I receive the ball in a diamond shape, and then immediately I can pass the ball back out in this diamond shape, extend my arms and flick like we just learned in the shooting, flicking the ball. And this will give a lot of power into the ball, and you will aim at their chest as well, and this will give a good, fast, perfect pass like this. So you can also add even more power by using the rule we learned in the beginning with the pivoting. So you can pivot with your right or left leg, and you can use that leg to give even more power to this chest pass I'm going to do. So you use everything you learned, and then you pivot, flick with the hand, and you give a perfect pass into the chest. And that's the first type of pass. The second type of pass is going to be the overhead pass. This focuses more on the shoulders and the elbows, and this is more of a pass for longer range and pass maybe over a defender. So you use this if you see someone really far up on the court. You use your pivot foot again, you pivot and you throw it above the defender, far away. So this is a good pass, and you kind of have this motion like this. So the third type of pass is going to be the one-handed pass. So this is kind of similar to the first pass we learned, but we don't use the diamond shape anymore because we only have one hand to use it on. So use this more to get around the defender. So I step with my pivot foot to right, around the defender, right? So here, let's imagine there's a defender here. I pivot to the right, and I take it around the defender, and I flick once again. And that's the 3 types of passes you can use. And now there's 2 ways you can pass. You can either give a bounce pass or a normal pass. Usually the bounce pass is a bit slower, but it's harder to defend and it's harder to steal. But the normal pass is a way faster, but a bit easier to defend. So you can choose to use either in different situations in a game. So the bounce pass, some people have a hard time doing the bounce pass because they think it's really easy and you just bounce it in the middle of you and your teammate. But that will give actually a slower and not a perfect pass into their chest. It will actually bounce up almost into their head here. So you kind of want to divide the distance from you and your teammates into 3 parts, and you want to pass the ball 2/3 away from yourself, and this will give a perfect fast pass into their chest. And you can use any of these passes we learned during the bounce pass, right? And those are the 2 ways you can pass, and the 3 types of passes you need to learn. And a good drill that I like is just passing against the wall. It might sound boring, but this is really good to learn, and the ball will always bounce back to you, so you don't need another person to do this with. You can do this alone. So you just pass it into the wall, and you do all the 3 types of passes we learned, and you get really comfortable with doing all of them. And that's how you can improve your passing. The last drill I'm going to show you will improve all 3 things we learned today of shooting, passing, and dribbling. So I'll show you this drill now. So my partner will have the ball. He will pass the ball using his passing skills he learned, I will use my dribbling skills I learned, do some dribbles, then I will shoot the ball, and then I will go for my own rebound, and then I will use the passing skills once again I learned, and he will do the same thing. And this is a really good drill to improve all three things.